Welcome to The Hot Switch with your host, Alli Mang, bringing you the best from leaders, comebackers, and instigators from around the world. Every episode, we put each other on the hot seat to exchange the kind of hard-won wisdom and transformative ideas that will shift your perspective and fuel your next move. This is The Hot Switch. Hi, welcome to The Hot Switch with Alli Mang. We're so excited to have you here. I'm just thrilled. We're having so much fun. And today I'm thrilled to introduce Dagmar. We've worked with her for a number of different sessions now. And I just love, she is the retention queen. She's very, very curious. Well, you know what? I'm just going to bring her in. She can talk all about that stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Ireland, Dagmar. Welcome.
Alli, it's so wonderful to be here for yet another episode, and I am excited for our conversation today. It's going to be a great one.
It is indeed. Now, as I do until I decide we're going to do something else, we're going to start with lighting the candle. I love doing this because it's kind of joins us all together as one. I do believe that there is a force with many, and as we come together, we are here. And one of my mantras I say every day, every moment that seems to pull me off center, I'll say wonderful things are taking place right now. So that is my prayer and my honest truth. And I know Dagmar shares that. And we will keep this candle going for the entire show. So let's get at it. Dagmar, today we're going to be talking about rising through one moment and ensuring that it continues to. So take it away, because I love the subject matter of what you brought to me, and go for it.
Yeah, I love this. And as someone who is deeply relational, and I love relationships, every form of relationship in my life, whether it's my husband, my friends, my clients, or the incredible peers that I get to meet in our online space. Really, relationships and continuation in relationships creates so much beauty and healing and ripple effect and a contribution into our lives. There couldn't be a greater topic.
I agree. And it's all about connection, isn't it? And, you know, one of my big things, people will often ask me, you know, what is the center of continuing a relationship, business wise, but anything personal. But today we'll talk business more, at least we'll sway it that way somewhat. It's connection and continuing to create meaningful reasons to stay connected. And it has to be transformational. If we focus on transaction, then it really quickly lightens. And sometimes it's just not a motive that holds, transformation holds, that both of you participate in and help each other rise, as we do here on this show.
Yeah. So I would love to really speak to the distinction and the difference between sort of like a client who is transactional, client who is impressed maybe by our presence online or a show that we put up, and really someone who stays with us for the long haul, someone who grows it with us over years, even a lifetime. And I really think that one of the biggest misconception in the transformational space, coaching space, online education space is that impressed clients automatically become like a loyal clients. And the simple truth is they don't. You know, people can be really impressed by our charisma or a great content or the proximity to us, or maybe the intensity of a breakthrough they have over a transformational weekend, but they can still leave immediately afterwards. And what I would love to everyone who's listening and watching this to really receive is an impressed client might love or even admire the experience. But a long-term client really experiences themselves evolving inside of the experience. Let me repeat this. This is a mouthful. A long-term client experiences themselves evolving inside the experience, whether the experience is program or course or mastermind or networking structure, whatever it is. And that's a real difference. So a client or customer or student that stays with us for years usually feels something way deeper than just admiration to us, to our bodies of work. They feel absolutely seen. They feel safe. They feel connected to us, the leader, but also connected to the context of the group, if a group is what we are doing. And really, they are continuously met at the edge of either their next emerging needs or who they are becoming. So go right ahead.
I wanted to just say, it's such a great, I loved how you framed that. And it's an exceptional way that you answered to that. And I love the impressed. I mean, you could have said 1,000 different verbs, but impressed is it's really a good word for that. What I would say first is impressed is surface. And as I said at the beginning, it's more of a transactional. What can you do for me? And I actually think oftentimes when clients, when you as the vendor do something that they really needed something, a challenge happened with it, it's how you handle that challenge that often binds your customer to more loyalty and wants to continue, because not that they're testing you, but that you met up to that test and surpassed it. I know that we're a little short on time, but I'd love your thoughts on that. How, you as a vendor or service provider responds to challenges and how that helps with the loyalty. Not that that's what you're looking for, but please.
Yeah, absolutely. Breakdown resolution is huge in a service-based businesses. And I think it's really helpful and really important for us to understand sort of our side and our lane and our participation and contribution in the context of the breakdown, but also understand maybe where client has misunderstood or perhaps not applied themselves or where their frustration is coming from, and truly have the leadership skills and leadership capacities to have healing or resolution type of conversation with client, where we both acknowledge our side of the street and from that space co-create solution and co-create path for moving forward. And conversation like this, I have experienced that in my own businesses. I've experienced that in the businesses of my clients. Conversation like this can literally add an additional $100,000 into the business because of the possibilities and opportunities and the trust that actually gets to be created as a result of that.
I totally agree. And I want to bring up a video right now that really talks to boundaries and understanding expectations. So let's take a look at that video and we'll come right back.
Someone told me that you kicked out 8 people in the last 2 weeks. What were the reasons for that?
I think that's right. 8 people in 2 weeks. God, I'm below par.
Why did you?
Is that all? They must have knocked off an O.
Why did you do it?
Why did I do it? Well, basically, I'm here 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. This is like my house. This is like my home. When I cook every night, it's cooking for people who hopefully are appreciative. And as I say, 95% are very appreciative. You've got that other 5% who are incredibly rude, obnoxious. They click their fingers, they arrive late. And I don't want those people in my house. If I came to your house for a dinner party and I was obnoxious, I was rude, I was late, you're going to tolerate me? You're going to ask me to leave, aren't you? But just because they're paying for it, they think they can be rude and obnoxious. Well, in Harvard, they don't get a bill. You just ask them to leave. I don't want their money.
No, I didn't make Gordon Ramsay cry.
Now that is Chef Marco Pierre White. And it's a little bit of a hard box, but I do love the idea of knowing your boundaries and setting them up in a way that's classy, that's professional, so that it's not it doesn't go any further than it needs to. Your final thoughts on that, because I always love your little buttons. And then it's tip time from Alli.
One sentence from me, Alli. To me, boundaries are a way of protecting what matters and what is sacred.
And we love that. All right. Dagmar, please take a moment here. We're going to have a little bit of fun. I decided to add a tip time. And today what I want to talk about is
Alli's performance
demos.
tip of the day.
Yeah, I love it. I never know what that's going to look like. Today, the tip of the day is demos when you have products. Now, I'm going to bring a few products in. The biggest thing you need to know is you need to, figure out the relationship with whatever screen you're looking with. If you're in a big studio, it's different. But always have your piece, whether it's this, an art piece, you show as many sides to it. If you have a ruler, show just how big it is. Make sure that, and I'm having trouble actually, as you see, I don't rehearse this. I just go, make sure you show people everything you possibly can. I'm always about tell me, show me, and prove it. And you can do that if it's lightweight, you can show them maybe on a scale. So that's one. A Kindle, one of these. You can talk about sizing again and compare it to something they know, just so they can see the relationship. The more you, I love it. Okay, the takeaway for the tip is take care of your customers. Tell them, show them, and prove it. Today, I probably got a 3.5, and that's okay. It's all good because that's what rehearsal's all about. And that's what our show's all about, too. We're not all produced and perfect. We're here to work and learn and have some fun, too. Dagmar, what did you think about that? And then we're going to get to Chip Wilson, the CEO of Lululemon, because he has something great to say that I love today. Any thoughts, my dear? What would you rate it?
Alli. I love this. I rated 5 out of 5. I have learned something new. I never thought about it from this perspective, but it makes me think a lot about sort of selling the intangible and actually applying the value of showing something real, showing something tangible when you're selling a service-based products or services altogether. So this is so valuable. Thank you.
Well, you're most welcome. And as we saw with my kind of really practice, if you're working with a mere thing, practice with that, what that means. And I need a lot more practice. But the principle is simple. Take care of your customers. Make sure that they get it, that they understand. That's the biggest thing. Okay. Chip Wilson, CEO, Canadian, and he's CEO of Lululemon. Let's take a look at his video and then we'll be right back.
What would I tell them? I'd tell them that every person in the world is an individual with a different genetic makeup and a different upbringing, and the way that you're thinking is so radically different than every other person in the world and incomparable that if you have an idea and you want to move forward with it, don't worry so much about the competition, because nobody will be able to replicate you in the way.
I love that. Nobody will be able to replicate you. I think so often we get concerned about how am I going to stand out? Well, as you said, Dagmar, principles, intention, understand the intangibles, figure out what differentiates you and stick to it. I love that you are I'm calling you the queen of retention, but I'm sure you have a much better name for that.
I'm gracefully
please
receiving
respond.
that.
You are? I love it. Well, please, I'd love your thoughts on Chip Wilson, and then I know you have a final query and question. I've loved everything that you have brought to the table, just so you know.
Yeah, thank you so much for this invitation. And I really believe that exactly as has been said, that we all have our unique perspective and life's experience and perception. and really our unique gifts and contributions that we are meant to bring to the world. And as one of my mentors, she beautifully says that we all are here to sort of like serve or sell to our own sliver of humanity. So I genuinely align with the possibilities and opportunities of, instead of focusing on the competition, actually getting inspired by the competition and applying that very uniquely to who we are and how we serve and who our customers are and how we can truly bring the best of ourselves into the world in the service of our human family.
Beautiful. Beautifully said, my beautiful friend. So your second question, go for it. Should I set you up better than that?
You're catching me off guard. All right. So I would love to take a moment to speak about the clients and relationships in my career that I really grew with over the years, and really what has created that level of connection and staying power. Was it performance or was it something else? And when I deeply reflect on the mentors and spaces that I have really stayed connected to over the years, the first thing that becomes really clear, it was the never performance alone on its own. And of course, my mentors are absolutely brilliant and their work is incredibly powerful. However, the brilliance alone doesn't create a long-term devotion in me. And what I think it creates, the long-term studying, stepping in, being in that space, is something much more relational and something much more evolutionary. So the two people that specifically come to mind that I have been devoted client and student of are Jill Miller, the founder of Tune Up Fitness, and Claire Zemet, the founder of Woman-Centered Coaching Institute. And when I look at these two really giants in their industry through the same lens, I understand the pattern. And what it is, they both have built a bodies of work around the idea that our transformation is an ongoing process. Mm-hmm. So with Jill, I have been a quote unquote student of my body, of my own physiology for years, of my own patterns, of my own movement protocols, of my own postural habits, and of my own blind spots. And there is always a new layer to understand, always a new level of awareness to actually develop. Now, when I think of Claire, there is an ongoing pursuit of self-actualization. Really the idea that every season of our lives invites a new level of growth, a leadership, and becoming. So if I were to summarize this, neither of their worlds feel static. Their worlds, right, and who am I becoming in their worlds actually keeps evolving.
And I think you nailed it 100%, because I was just going to say, okay, in 30 seconds, tell me what makes you want to stick with them. And the evolution is what it is. And I totally agree with you. And you know, that applies specifically when we are pitching, when we're on stage. It's something I'm going to talk about in my next show, Tops and Tails. But it's another approach that I call the New World approach, that no matter what, you can know and memorize and be all prepared and fabulous. But you got to drop that script. You've got to show up on that day. It could have been a snowstorm outside and everyone was late to the event, to the whatever. Something tragic could have happened in the world. There are so many factors that can absolutely affect the present moment. And if you come in and not acknowledging that in some classy way that's professional and all of the things that you are taught in foundation, then you're already losing the audience. So that principle carries whether it is a 1-hour presentation, an 8-minute presentation, or a 3-day event. You've got to live in the present with yourself and the people around you, and keep your message very poignant. If it's Remembrance Day in Canada, then make sure you have that poppy as a commemorative event. And anything, no matter where you are, ensure that you are honoring the people on that day, and every day that you're in charge of them. And that's one of the things that a lot of people miss. And to me, it changes from being excellent to being memorable for great reasons. And that's a huge, huge, I would say, boundary that needs to be, pushed and pushed and pushed as you grow your business, even if you're just starting out or a seasoned veteran. So that's my thought on that.
I love this. That's such an exceptional distinction.
Well, thank you very much. I am so pleased. Now, I have a question then for you, and we can kind of finish on this. You have talked a lot about relational. I want to understand a little bit more, just kind of a brief understanding, because you use it in such an interesting way, and coming from a different part of the world. I'm interested in what that means to you, because I think oftentimes our North American meanings, we flatten words. So I want to understand that a little bit. And then the other thing is, what is your advice to a young professional who is getting into a service business, not dissimilar to what you do? So love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, let's bring these two together. So I love young people. In fact, my older son, I'm blessed to be a mother of two sons. My older son is 25 and he is literally chewing with this very question. So I think the most important piece, young people stepping into service-based business, the lenses I would love to invite them to think through is, do not be building for attention. Do not be building for social media algorithm. Start building for depth. And that can be a little bit tricky. Of course, young people are figuring out who they are and what are my services. And, they are in many spaces and places just trying to obviously earn their rent and bring food on the table. And with that being said, there is so much pressure to grow quickly, be visible quickly, scale quickly. And a lot of young people think or approach this with building businesses on top of nervous system exhaustion and very fragile foundations. So as a young person, and speaking about relationships, what do relationship look like on the other side of the pond? You want to learn how to build trust. And how do you build trust? Through the currency of relationships, through currency of caring, through currency of being in somebody's world and listening and paying attention and trying to bring solutions, not necessarily through your checkout page, but really by thinking on a deep level. You want to hold relationships, whether that's relationship with your parents, with your friends, with your vendors, with your peers, with your networks. You want to really hold them well and think about creating a genuine value in the market space. What does creating genuine value in the market space in our AI world actually looks like? That is the piece that you want to be sitting with.
I love that. And I also really enjoyed how you said, don't, for the young people specifically, but listen, this applies to all of us. Don't make vying for attention be the key to what you're doing. I mean, look, you can do it if you want, but at some point, especially, it's going to get old. People are going to tire of it. And, we used to call it in music, the one-hit wonders, I guess it depends on what the goal is. If you just want to get in and get out, go for it. But, so much of life is way more about that. I want to share a final story with you because I think it talks to A-list professionals, the kind of boundaries that you just want to break through and really understand. And I had shown this to you before. This is my first book called Sold Out. And really, I have 24 methodologies and they're all created because of this book, because I had to make $10,000 a minute or I was out of the game. I mean, that was the kind of sales pressure that that had to be done. And years ago, this is Joan Rivers. If you're familiar with Joan Rivers, she was one of the funniest comedians around. And I spotlighted her in my book because not only was she an exceptional comedian, she was also one of the best shopping channel personalities in the world because she was into what we call infotainment. She had clothing line, she had jewelry. It was all really fun. But you tuned in because, of course, her products were exceptional in the sense that they were high value and they were priced well. Okay, but what she did for that hour is filled it to a T where you were on the edge of your seat. You weren't sure what she was going to do. And knowing her, she was a little bit of an edgy comedian anyway, but she just was fun and interesting. She was a businesswoman and she combined it all together. Now she signed my book, and this actually ended up being probably the last thing that she's ever signed, because I gave her this book and 2 days later she gave me this book, which I thought was my book. And I thought, oh, I guess she didn't really like it. No, this was a new book. And she had a sticky and said, "Darling," this was the sticky, which is not here, but whenever you sign your book, make sure it's where your name is. And I had signed it on a different page. So she said, "Please." And the message reads the following: "To Alli, how smart of you to write this. I just wish you all the success, except in jewelry." And you see in bracket, "except in jewelry, or I'll cut you, you bitch." Now, saying that with beauty. Now, that's Joan Rivers. And that was 2014, as you see. 2 weeks later, she was doing some routine surgery and she died. And so my point here is, first of all, you never know what's going to happen. But that really wasn't the point. The point was she went beyond. She didn't need to do this. She bought a second book of mine and signed it back with a note because that's the type of person she was. And I think that I cherish this, as dog-eared as it is. You see, I use it a lot I still use this book. I'm revamping it now, but it is something that is very touching to me. And imagine the type of things as we grow our careers that we can do for younger people. And I think that really is the kind of thing we should always be thinking about. Do good, do exceptional work, connect with the people, create those relationships as you've done so well, Dagmar, and talked about. And then spread the love, make sure other people and take care of them. I want to thank you so much.
All the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your final words, and then I'll bring in our candle and we'll shut down this episode.
I think you have ended on a beautiful, beautiful story. And what stands for me so deeply is how cherished this book and edition of this book, your book, is with you over a decade, and how much this story and this message actually means to you. Amazing.
Well, thank you. And it really does. And this is the kind of role models that we can continue to be. And, you know, your two sons, thank you for all of your great work and just for being here and being a part of our world. This candle is for all of us. I'm going to blow it out now. I hope you have a wonderful day and week and whatever you're doing. And thank you to our producer always. We could never do this without you. Have a super, super day. And thank you so much for joining us. Alli Mang here. Of all the people that could have been chosen, designer Ana Lucia Beltran asked me to host her live worldwide launch last year of her newest product, the world's first non-toxic luxury jewelry cleaner, safe for gold, silver, diamonds, and even pearls. Ana Lucia is the founder of the world's first designer lab-grown diamond brand. Her entire brand is sustainable luxury, ethically made at prices that make sense. Her pieces have been featured in Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee album. I'm proud to call her my friend, and even more proud to stand behind what she is building for today's women. For 15 years, I sold products all over the world on live shopping. Hundreds have approached me to talk up their products. I've said yes to a handful. Ana Lucia Diamonds and her entire company is one of them. It's time to switch it up. Hi, Alli Mang here. I gained 35 pounds a few years ago and I couldn't get rid of it. I did the usual, including intermittent fasting, a trainer, and even cut down to 1,400 calories a day. Nothing seemed to budge until a friend told me to try Make Wellness. It's bioactive plant-based precision peptides that signal to your body at the cellular level what to do. Burn fat, curb cravings, preserve lean muscle. Well, the first product I tried was lean, and that was the turn. I lost the weight, and the best thing is I'm keeping it off with no worries. For 15 years, I sold products all over the world on live shopping. Hundreds have approached me to talk up their products. I've said yes to a handful. Make Wellness is one of them. It's time to switch it up.